this set a precedent for other companies to sue ousted CEOs? With me now, our own Kate Rogers and NBC News and MSNBC legal analyst Danny Cevallos to talk more about this. Kate, I'll start with you. What's the latest from Easterbrook, and how is he framing his case against McDonald's here?
So Easterbrook obviously is filing this motion to dismiss. He basically says that he didn't cover up his own evidence well enough and that McDonald's investigators should have discovered it when they did their audit, when they were looking into the relationship that was uncovered that kind of led to his firing. But as you mentioned, Kelly, the language here today, so strong. You rarely see a big corporation, particularly McDonald's, come out swinging like this, morally bankrupt. A lot of the terminology that they're using, very, very strong words here, and saying absolutely not. We do have a case here. He violated our company policy, values, and they're looking to get some of that severance back.
Wow, Danny, let me bring you in on that point. Do you think McDonald's will get its severance back? And is there precedent for a corporate case like this?
There's not a lot of precedent for a case like this, but Easterbrook's defense is essentially that, okay, even if I lied to you about those relationships, McDonald's should have conducted a better investigation of my email account. These allegations, right, by McDonald's own admission, are astonishing. And I'm reading them directly from the pleadings. And they're saying essentially that, look, when we first conducted our investigation, he handed over his phone. We looked at his phone, and everything that's on the phone, we gave it back to him because we didn't find anything out about these three other people. So anybody who has worked at a company, has a phone and an email account knows that there's a server that those emails go through, and that server belongs to McDonald's. So essentially, Easterbrook's defense is, you should have known, you shouldn't have listened to me. You should have looked at the server and found out this stuff on your own. Shame on you. I should keep my money.
Do you think that's going to have standing, Danny, and allow him to avoid having to return this compensation?
I think his biggest concern is whether or not, if in fact he did lie to deceive investigators, that may override the fact that they absolutely should have been checking the server. Who in their right mind would rely on just what's on the phone itself, especially if, as is alleged, some of these, I guess, these sexual photographs were being sent to the McDonald's email account. On both sides, there appears to be, by the allegations, some galactic misunderstandings of how modern technology work on both sides.
And what, Kate, is McDonald's doing about all of this now?
So David Fairhurst was their chief people officer, head of HR. He was ousted right after Easterbrook was last fall. They now have a new HR chief people officer, Heidi Capozzi. She came over from Boeing, and she's really, according to the company, kind of taking a top-down approach with what's going on there, their hiring practices, and also kind of looking at how they evaluate employee complaints. When Chris Kempczinski, the new CEO, took over, there was a lot of emphasis on company values, what McDonald's stands for and what they're looking for as a culture moving forward. One of those things is kind of speaking up when you're seeing something that doesn't align with the company values, and they continue to hammer that home. So you can see that the company certainly wants to pivot. They've got someone new in HR, but the Wall Street Journal reporting that they are looking into David Fairhurst, his tenure as chief HR officer there, and what he did, and potentially him making women feel uncomfortable, reportedly, according to the Journal, at certain company events and gatherings, and how those were reported and evaluated.